And here we are towards the end of Macabre Madness.
Woo!
It's been a good one so far. This annual horror movie bracket tournament, when we had 60 films, whittled it down to, we are now in the Elite 8. And guys, it's been so much fun to see which ones won, which ones moved on, which ones got upset, which ones were disappointed from the very beginning. And that's what we're talking about today while we are waiting for Kaylin and Johnson to get in on the very final round that we're going to do. Tell me, which of these films just got fucking knocked out way too soon that you would have loved to see go all the way in? Or maybe they got hosed with a real tough matchup. Champ, Jessica, tell me, which one or two or three would you have loved to see go on that just did not make it out of the first couple rounds?
Sure. So I definitely thought The Shining would get further. I thought that was one of my picks that I thought was gonna hold strong through to the end because it's The Shining. I mean, come on. And that got knocked out early by Halloween. So it's not like it's respectable, but I still thought I think The Shining is better, and I think it should have gone on further. It should have had a good matchup with Halloween and then just continued. But instead, Halloween kind of sucker punched it a little. It got a little too complacent, thinking that it could beat Halloween, and just bam, Halloween came in, and I was like, no, we're all pumped up. He came in like Baylor, just swinging, and Gonzaga / The Shining just went down. So
The Shining was rolling off of its reputation as a fucking classic of the genre. But no, it got knocked out very first round by Carrie. That was our weird. That was our Stephen King versus Stephen King matchup in the very first round, when Carrie fucking managed to beat The Shining by like a ton.
Actually, it was Carrie, not Halloween. I had it crossed off of my list because it went so much further in the bracket. It's just crossed off here. So yeah, freaking Carrie. That's worse, actually. That is a lot more like the latest March Madness game.
That's like losing to a D3 team. That's like having your championship D1 club. That's like your Duke losing to, I don't know, Greeley. Fucking. that's like Duke all of a sudden loses to the fucking UNC Bears.
Yeah, no, it's that's unfortunate.
Jack needs to lay off the booze. Probably would have done a little better if he was sober.
I know, right? Gosh, he's the one I blame for this. He's swinging all wild, comes in thinking some skinny little girl hiding in a bathroom, can't do anything, and then pow, soon you're frozen in the middle of a maze.
Right. He didn't play the full game. I mean, and Larry just bit him right at the end.
Right?
Yeah. He thought he had it won.
That's Carrie for you. I mean, we were just talking about Carrie, where it's kind of like this, nothing. Oh, everybody's dead now. It's just all or nothing with Carrie. So
it's such a 70s movie that way. It's like lots of slice of life stuff happening and just real low key, laid back. We were talking about it's a Brian De Palma movie, so it is interestingly shot. The direction is fascinating too. But then he goes on some random tangent where we got kids getting ready for prom, and the leisure suits are the best part of the whole thing. It means nothing to me at all. That's all I remember is that they're trying on leisure suits like a bunch of fucking high schoolers, I guess.
Yeah. No, you know what though? I blame the material. Kaylin's not here to defend King. You can do it, Phil. But I seriously blame the material. The director was good. The actors were fine. He's like, let's just send them to prom, I guess, and then she kills everyone. There's nothing else. Come on.
Or that one scene, she's walking down the street and the dude on the bike's like, Carrie's crazy, Carrie, or doing that thing. And then she's with brain powers and he flies off his bike. That's really bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. I don't know. I mean, I think I would be in a different boat if suddenly I found myself in the dance hall as Carrie was going ape shit and killing everybody. But sometimes as you watch it as a horror movie, you think to yourself all right, are we going anywhere with this? Is it time to get going?
Yeah. I
will defend it based on, again, my history with it. It was one of the first horror movies I ever saw, probably when I was 12. because my whole deal was my mom said I could watch rated R horror movies, whatever, as long as I read the book first. So yes, I read the book, and I remember at 12 years old thinking like, oh, this is a creepy book, but I didn't really get it. And then I watched the movie, and it brought to life. It's a pretty faithful adaptation of the book, and so seeing it on screen creeped me out. And of course, the final jump scare that you get. I won't give it away if you haven't seen Carrie, but the final jump scare in Carrie, it still gets me to this day.
No.
No. Well,
Yeah.
we'll agree to disagree on that one.
Your nostalgia, I appreciate it, but no. I have 0 fucks to give.
Either way, hey, I'm right there with you. I would have picked The Shining over Carrie all day, any day. Like Shining is one of my top 3 favorite movies, period, of any genre. Like much more frightening fucking movie than Carrie.
Right. So I know Ryan definitely has a should have won opinion that he's ready to share.
No, but I'm probably gonna steal Phil's thunder here a little bit. I'm kind of disappointed that Wes Craven's New Nightmare didn't go further, that it didn't get out of the first round. And it gets beat by The Train to Busan.
Train to Busan. I mean, sorry, the winner had to be up against, right away. That was unfortunate, but
man, that one's a little disappointing because now I argue between the original Nightmare on Elm Street or New Nightmare, which one's better? I don't know. I'm not New Nightmares should be the original number 2 to Nightmare on Elm Street because that was done really well.
Yeah.
It's one of those films that just stands out in my mind because it was also one of the first movies that I think really did the whole meta commentary thing well. Because Wes Craven himself is in the goddamn movie, and then we've got Langenkamp, who played the original character, back as her actress self, but then getting haunted. And it's just so well done that at no point do you question the reality of Freddy Krueger actually being part of the real world that these actors live in. I don't know. Oh, they just did such a fucking good job with it.
I don't know. And I think and it's not a scary scene by any means, but one of my favorite scenes in that movie, and I vaguely remember, it's been a minute since I've seen it, but they're doing a film shoot and Freddy's hand is on the table and it starts going ape shit. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Yes.
And then just kind of from there, it just kick started, when the kids started having his weird dreams and then the husband gets the claw on the chest on his way home. And the cool thing about New Nightmare, I thought it didn't have to take place on Elm Street anymore. So
yeah, it expanded the sort of space for horror for all those folks.
Yes, but I don't know, he locked on instead of haunting every other child's dream. It's he locked on to the one person that owned him, and that was Nancy. So he just started taking out Nancy's, everyone in her life type of thing. It wasn't so much he actually, it wasn't about killing kids. It he had a personal vendetta against somebody almost.
I like it too because again the whole dream aspect makes it creepier. It's it's already creepy because dreams are creepy, but the fact that you can't sleep, and that's why I like It Follows so much, because it's not only the guy who's chasing you, but also the physical exhaustion of the experience that just wears the characters down, and there's really no escape from that. So it's kind of eventually you're gonna get caught. It's just a matter of when. And that's what's always so creepy to me about those movies.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, it's Nightmare, as much as I love the other slashers, Nightmare has always been the most creative, the most fun to watch, the most inventive storyline. It's more than just some big lumbering piece of meat chasing you down with a cleaver, which is basically, when you look at Freddy and you look at Mike Myers, they are totally different fucking things. You look at Freddy and you look at Jason, totally different things. Yeah. But Mike Myers and Jason Voorhees, they might as well be the same goddamn character. Just one haunts summer camp, the other one haunts suburbia. It's
babysitters, right?
Yeah, and as much as I love both those series, yeah, Freddy just it takes it to the the fucking ultimate.
But it also makes it better when your character talks.
Yes, I
You're
agree.
gonna
And he's
have
witty. He says funny things.
witty,
Witty.
witty and perverted.
I mean, he is in the end. All right, so I got to bring this up because Kaylin, one of my wish that it would have gone furthers, wish that it would have won is Babadook. I am gonna hold on to Babadook forever because god damn, that movie is like legitimately fucking frightening, and it gets more frightening every time I watch it. But she brought up something that I had never heard of before. Babadook apparently is becoming some kind of queer icon. Like there was some weird internet stuff that happened, and now all of a sudden people have latched on to Babadook as like this superhero of queer culture. And I guess I can get it if you want to latch onto a terrorizing beast to represent your culture. Go for it. Go for it. But that to me just represents, it's why Babadook is such a good movie, because the best movies and the best literature and the best stories, you can read real deep into them because they have so many layers to them. They're like little baby onions. They got so much going on. And so good for Babadook having that. But the one article that I read that was probably the most convincing for it, it just ground to a fucking halt when it also said that apparently Freddy Krueger is becoming some sort of queer icon. And I was like, a child murderer? Like a rapist child murderer.
Oh. Wow.
Yeah, they're trying a little too hard there.
That's that, yeah.
I'm guessing that's a surface thing where they're like this sort of aesthetic of like his appearance or his factor rather than going that deep into the character's background. That's my best stab, haha, at where that's coming from. Yes, I made a pun. That's my best guess at that. It's just like it's more like the surface, the poster, if you will, rather than someone's super creepy murdery background.
it must be, but again, like I said, like Babadook, I will get behind alternate readings of Babadook any day, whereas Freddy Krueger, he is very specifically a rapist child murderer. He's not a good guy. There's nothing good about Freddy, although he is a funny motherfucker. Since we're on the topic of Fred Krueger.
Please, God. This is God.
And I think one of my favorite things about Freddy Krueger is how, like, yeah, his one-liners, like, they start as, like, pretty creepy, pretty standard, and then over time, like, he just becomes, like, a stand-up comedian. Like,
what if he gets bored just being creepy all the time?
Maybe you just want to add another, aspect to his whole shtick. Have you seen Rick and Morty, the episode where they kind of take off Freddy Krueger and go like dream and dream and dream? Have you seen that?
Oh yeah,
Like, was it? He just says it's like it's scary Terry. It's like he's got some catchphrase that says bitch in it. It's like it's something bitch and like oh bitch don't even trip, and it's hilarious. So I'm
gonna have to track it down.
It's worth watching again. I love Rick and Morty, but yeah, that was a fun find where they just went full Freddy Krueger for an episode. It was great.
Yeah.
Oh, good stuff. Good stuff.
Oh God, yeah. I mean, like Rick and Morty. That's one of those shows that's I need to watch more of than I have, because every single episode I've ever seen is fucking hilarious. It references so much crap. And like, oh God.
If you love like, sci-fi or, different types of media, movies, books, like it's perfect because you'll just keep finding those references. It's just chock full.
All over the place.
Yeah.
Rick and Morty, yes. But it's one of those, I think I've gotten a little afraid of this show because it's one of those ones that people who love it, they have seen every episode about 100 times and they can like literally quote, like they could rehearse the episodes to you. And I'm like, shit, dude, that's a little intense for me. Yeah. It's like Simpsons fans who can like go through every episode of Simpsons and to like recite every line that's ever been made.
Mhm, mhm. No, it's definitely one that you can enjoy, but I would, yeah, talk to the fans at your own risk, I suppose. Dive in
Yeah,
at the level that's equal to you, and just know that
exactly.
it goes deep.
Just like Macabre Brothers, find the casual horror fan who also likes taking deep dives on occasion. It's like Rick and Morty. Find the casual Rick and
Like
Morty fan.
random nerdy ranting is fine to a point, and then you have to shut up and let other people talk.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
no shame in liking things other than that one specific piece of media.
Yeah.
Which brings me to my choice. My didn't win, wish it would have won. It's
Mhm.
another Wes Craven. We had so much Wes Craven on this, including The Thing, which I personally would have loved to see go so much
Yeah.
deeper than it did. It got knocked out first fucking round by goddamn Midsummer.
Oh,
Yeah.
God, wow.
Boo, boo, I say. I mean, I liked
Mhm.
Midsummer, but The Thing, yeah,
Ugh.
yeah,
Ugh.
yeah. The Thing is a classic.
It,
It's awesome.
this is what gets me. This is what really grinds my gears the most about that. It got knocked out in the first round because we did Metacritic this time around. Metacritic was our deciding factor for the first round. The Thing has a 57% on Metacritic. That is worse than Train to Busan, worse than Carrie, worse than The Shining, worse than Halloween, worse than Sleepy Hollow, worse than Pan's Labyrinth, worse
Where's
than
Sleepy Hollow? What?
even Terrifier. That's a worse score than even Terrifier. And I like Terrifier, but objectively, The Thing is a better movie. It just
Man, The Thing
I
got,
agree.
yeah, it got a raw deal.
it
Man.
got the shaft.
Mhm.
Because when I think of movies that like especially on a night like tonight, it's April snowing here in the high country like it tends to do. Whenever the temperature plummets, I think of two different movies: The Shining, of course,
Mm.
or The Thing. And I think it's because both of them do such a good job with claustrophobia. But the
Yes.
one thing I like about The Thing over The Shining is that the cast of characters is so much larger. And so you've got more
Yes.
mystery
Yes.
and like second guessing. And it's kind of got that. I mean, you can't beat the blood scene, the trying to figure out who is who. Like one of
Yeah.
the best scenes ever. I fucking
Mhm.
love.
No, I like it because you're right. It's a claustrophobic. It's basically a submarine movie, right? You're stuck,
Mhm.
but it's also like a murder mystery kind of clue because they're trying to figure out like who done it or who's the alien, really. And I just like those two aspects combined. Um, really make for that one just a lot more tense than one, crazy dude rambling the halls. I love The Shining, but yeah, I agree that this one is a lot more tense in ways that The Shining is not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. This.
And the monster is so creepy. Like they
Oh,
could have
fuck
just
yeah.
done something else. Like they could have done some sort of like vampire thing or whatever. But like the fact that it like rips you apart and like
Mhm.
mutates you in this like really gross Cronenberg-esque, like, it's I don't know, it just adds an extra level of fear because it's not only are you being killed or something, you're being completely replaced or changed and in the most like horrifying way. It's not even like a cool vampire or even like a little zombie thing. It's like, no, you are an abomination and you will kill
Uh-huh.
your friends.
Yeah. And I mean, this was like the golden era um like creature flicks. I want to say that the same people that did um, the creature effects for the Alien movies, the first two Alien movies, also did the Thing effects.
Oh, I don't know.
Um,
That'd be
like
interesting.
here, I'm looking it up right now,
Mhm.
but I'm pretty sure it is the same ones because again, this was like the golden era of legitimate,
Mhm.
real effects. It
Yeah,
just
I like it when they do, even though the first Alien had that kind of funny now like guy in a suit, rah. I still like that better than a computer special effect for the most part.
I do too. It's more visceral. It's more
Mhm.
real. It actually like feels as though it could be there in real life.
Yeah,
Um, let's see here.
visual effects there. But, I guess you'd have to click on their main person and see if they also have Alien.
Yeah, maybe I'm making that up, but I could have swore that it was.
I mean, it makes sense. It's that time frame.
Mm-hmm.
And The Thing was like the first of the Preacher.
I bet it was at least, I mean, you could probably at least say they were influenced.
Yeah, influence. Okay, so no connection there, but guy who did the effects supervisor, Roy Arbogast, he was also the effects. He also did effects on Jaws, Close Encounters of the Third Kind, Escape from New York, another Wes Craven flick, Return of the Jedi. So I mean, They Live, another Wes Craven. So like a guy who you have seen his work, whether or not you realize it. You have seen his work. Yeah. Yeah, just great shit. I love it. Any other films that really got the shaft that you wish you would have gotten out of the first or second rounds?
I thought maybe the Blair Witch would go a little bit further because it was the first of its kind almost, of people going through the fear, recording themselves, being lost in the woods.
Yeah.
I thought that would have at least gotten to the second or third round.
That was another one taken out by Train to motherfucking Busan. Anybody who had to come up against that film just got taken out.
It's literally a train full of zombies just charging through everything else. So yeah.
Makes sense. Now, all right, now tell me, Blair Witch. Have you guys watched it recently?
Not recently. It's been a while.
No.
Does it hold up? Have you seen it recently?
Yeah, I've watched it within the past like 2 or 3 years. That's one that I do like to pull out every once in a while because I get a little I get jaded by all the found footage films. Like there's very few found footage movies that I like watching start to finish that are found footage. And I like going back to it to watch, like this is like a true example of what can be done well with found footage. And it's because found footage isn't just a gimmick. It's not just used to like, make you queasy and puke in your seat. It's actually like, it's part of the story. It's how it has to be done. It's kind of like, like Paranormal Activity. That's another one that did found footage right because found footage had to be the way that it was filmed because it fits into the story as, cameras around the house. Or even, what's the Cloverfield? I didn't mind that one. That was a little more action oriented found footage, but pretty good.
Yeah. No, it's definitely creepy. I watched that a long time ago. I'd be curious if that one holds up for me, but I enjoyed it while I watched it.
Yeah. And I still find myself, when I see weird looking sticks in the woods and shit, I still reference Blair Witch. I'm like, oh, I'm not going there. Blair Witch Lives down that fucking trail.
I found that one creepier on the rewatches actually, like because in the beginning you hear the sounds and it's all just mysterious, but on the rewatch, especially when you're hearing the screams, you're like, oh, I know why he's screaming. His teeth are being ripped from his skull. That's creepy now, like way extra creepy. Like, oh, so that one is actually, it holds up on rewatch. At least it did the first, earlier. So yeah, that could have gone further. But I'm sorry, just train full of zombies. What are you gonna do?
Well, and interestingly, I think this is the first time Blair Witch has actually been in Macabre Madness. I don't think we've had it in any of the past tournaments.
I don't remember. I don't think so though. I don't remember talking about it too much. So
I really do feel, I expected it to go way further than it did. But yeah, Train to Busan, just zombified train rolling over everybody.
It's creepy and full of action and comedy. So it's just trifecta for me. I wish Get Out had gone further actually. Because that got knocked out by freaking Invasion of the Body Snatchers from 78. And it just, it could have held its weight further, I think. It was like near the bottom of the first page is where I have it.
Yeah, it was a first round knockout for Get Out.
Yeah, actually, yeah. Like, what the heck?
First round knockout for Get Out. And yeah, it had to go up against Invasion of the Body Snatchers, which again, I would highly recommend Invasion of the Body Snatchers, but let's put it this way. As a coach, as I was putting together my my selections for this year's bracket, I knew what I was doing. I picked some films that maybe personally, I would never watch more than once a decade, like Invasion of the Body Snatchers from '78. But I know our fucking critical darlings that get all the love that that could hold their own against some serious like newcomers like Get Out.
Like Get Out. Yeah, that was interesting. I just feel too like those older ones have had more time to kind of get the fans and get the people to weigh in and all that, where the new ones, even if they're heavy hitters, like they're still just like that first cannonball, into the pool, and they haven't had time to really settle in the same way.
I mean, it's the truth. We will see how, films like Get Out hold up over time, or even like Sinister holds up over time. Because I remember Sinister, this past Halloween, I read some article that like, oh, there was a study that was done with a bunch of people where they hooked them up to like fucking like pulse readers and heart monitors. And apparently Sinister is considered, quote, the scariest movie of all time because it's the film that had the highest fluctuation of heart rate as people were watching it. To me, that just says they did a good job with jump scares. It doesn't say that it actually was scary. It just, to me, it says they did a good job with it.
I remember that one having those jump scares. That one did like a really good job of drawing you in, because you always know sort of to expect them. And sometimes even if you expect them, you do jump. But that one was a really good one of sort of making you expect it somewhere else. And then you're like, oh, that didn't happen. So oh, Jesus, like it did a good job, but I don't know if it's the scariest movie of all time.
No, and to be honest, the matchup we had first round was Sinister up against Blair Witch Project. And yeah, I think Blair Witch took the win like it should have, and it did.
Yeah. What's interesting is that Get Out and Invasion of the Body Snatchers went against each other, because they are kind of similar in concept, where you've got, that sort of possession aspect of something taking over your body. It's kind of like old versus new, which is because that one was like about communism a little bit and all this, and Get Out has these aspects of racism and stuff. So it is interesting that those two together are would probably be a cool watch, like one after the other or something.
Yeah, it'd be fun to do a comparison of like what they're about and what they're trying to get at. Because yeah, you're right. Because Invasion of Body Snatchers, it's a remake of a '50s film that was full on Red Scare.
That's right. Yeah.
Communists are among us sort of thing. And Get Out, yeah, same thing. Where we've got
body snatchers
taking over. Yeah, we got people taking over our bodies because they want old white people want to live as young, sexy black men.
Who wouldn't want that? But no, it's true. It's that movie was so good though. Man, the whole sunken place scenes like just creep me the fuck out. Like, ugh.
Yeah. Again, it's why it was so much fun to put the decades up against decades for this year's Macabre Madness. Because it was if you guys right now, my last question, if you had to pick a decade that is your favorite, that every like one of your favorite movies comes out of, or that you think is just like it's just got the best grip on horror, what would you go with?
The 80s.
80s. The problem when we're picking, movie by decade, I had the most trouble in the early aughts, because that's where I knew the most movies. So I don't know if I can answer that properly. Probably for me, it's just the newer generations, because those are the ones that I've really watched as a horror fan and dug into. I like watching the old ones, but I feel like I just vibe better with the new ones. Like I really like Rosemary's Baby and The Shining and a couple of these, but overall as a whole, I think I'm with the newer generations, just because they're the movie style that I'm used to and that I prefer, which is some action, some comedy, rather than those sort of heavy hitting classics.
Yeah.
So it's not like a cool, like snobby answer, but it's me. I just love I think the early aughts and onward is fun. Give me that new shit.
See, well, and I'm right there with you. So let's take a look at our Savage 16 round. We didn't have a single film from the 80s in Savage 16. It was the only decade not represented in the 16. And I think I'm with Ryan. When I think of horror movies that I like to just sit down and just throw in and have a good time with, like 80s. 80s all day, every day. Like those are when, like those are my favorite slashers. Those are my favorite like directors
best
came out of the
action.
80s.
Yeah, just like
And
cheesy
yeah,
action.
they got that fun mix of like, of action
Yeah.
plus horror, plus a little bit of comedy. Like they weren't as serious as the 70s movies, which we had quite a few 70s movies in the Savage 16.
Yeah.
And then we've got let's see, our Elite Eight, our 8 round. It is basically a matchup between newer films, 2010s and newer, and 70s films.
70s.
We've got, let's see, we've got It Follows 2015 up against Hereditary from 2018.
Yeah.
Then we've got Deep Red from 75 up against Marianne the TV show from 2019. We got Invasion of the Body Snatchers from 78 up against Dawn of the Dead from the exact same year.
Yeah.
Which that should be a good mix up too. And then we got Pan's Labyrinth from 2006 up against Train to Busan from 2016. It is like heavily dominated by relatively new movies.
Yeah.
And that's the category I struggled in the most, was the 2000s.
Interesting.
Yeah. The 2000s, when I think of 2000s era movies, you know, I don't know, I just get stuck with thinking about like the earlier 2000s era movies. You know, stupid stuff like I Know What You Did Last Summer. Oh, that might still be 90s.
Oh, those are 90s.
90s.
Yeah, that's 90s.
Fun.
90s is
like
like
80s is fun, but it's
I think
not
like
good.
Early
Nothing's
2000s was the Paranormal Activity.
Yeah.
I like it because they just started to get a little more creative. I think the 90s were coasting off the cheese of the 80s. And then in the aughts and on, where they just started to be a little more like weird or funky or like really niche, you know, where it's like, it's not just zombies, it's zombies on a train and also 3 other things, you know, and that's just it's fun.
The 90s were more of like, we don't have to have a monster to kill you. 'Cause that's all 80s. It was like Jason, Michael Myers, Freddy. But then the 90s were like think about Scream and I Know What You Did Last Summer. Those were just like more on high school kids killing friends.
Yeah. And like so many of those 90s movies, they were just they're candy. They're fluff. They don't have much to it. Well, and when I was picking my 2000s movies, my early ones, I had a tough time with that too, because there's lots of movies that I like from that era, but I feel like so much 2000s era horror was inspired by, well, at least American horror was inspired by like 9/11. It's very fucking intense. Like there is no letting up. There's no humor. There's no nothing other than just like Saw, torture porn. People just get killed in the worst ways possible. Same thing with like the remakes of like Hills Have Eyes. It just takes it to that next level. Wolf Creek, like awful, nasty stuff. Like those 2000s era movies are just, they're brutal. They're hard to watch, and they're not ones that I throw on often. Or even like Rob Zombie's movies, like his whole aesthetic. His whole aesthetic is like, I'm gonna bombard you with the shit for a long time, grindhouse shit, and I'm gonna make you like it. And I tend to.
Maybe
I'll never watch Halloween 2 again.
Yeah, I think maybe the 2010s are. Can you go to the tab that's like all of our picks for the decades? So I'm trying to remember like what I was, you know, agonizing over, which was a bunch. Yeah, like, you know, 20s, yeah. And it was hard to pick the later ones. But, you know, you've got like The Orphan, which is pretty dark, you know, boring, like slow, and then Death Proof is sort of grindhouse-esque, but not exactly. It's like the less grindhousey of the two.
Totally grindhouse.
I know, but like compared to the Rodrigo one that's like right next to it, like that one's like to the extreme. So, but no, that's true. I do a shit ton of people get murdered in that one. But like in a gleeful way.
Because Grindhouse made it. Like, never mind.
No, yeah, I know. It's one of the Grindhouse flicks. It's, I don't know. I like it's gleeful. I don't know. I have a twisted sensibility.
Gleeful, like, yeah, I know.
Murder, but it's fun, guys. It's great. You never know. It's either gonna strike me, I hate it, or I'm just like, yes, more chainsaw. But yeah, like Pan's Labyrinth, Hills Have Eyes. Whoa, that one's so creepy. I don't know. Those were 2 tough decades to pick out because I just had so many that I wanted to toss in
Yeah.
there. Ready or Not didn't get very far, which I was bummed about. But I don't think it's so new, and it is just kind of it's like the 90s but better. It's fluff, but better fluff, I guess. Is the best.
Yeah, it needs some time to
Mhm.
ripen. Fine wineage.
Yeah. It was enjoyable. I like horror comedy, but it's those ones are tough to rate sometimes.
Yeah.
Jessica, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
So for your 2000s, you picked Death Proof.
hmm
Why? Just curious, why didn't you pick Planet Terror if you were going that?
I like Death Proof so much more than Planet Terror. Planet Terror is fine, and there's definitely parts that I really enjoyed, that I thought were clever, but Death Proof just like grabbed me in a different way. Like it's so different. I like the setup. I like the characters. I like the whole concept of it's all done through cars.
Mhm.
I don't know. It's just so clever. And Kurt Russell just plays like the perfect evil dude. Um, I just love that movie. And it's Tarantino, so of course I was gonna like it. I do like a lot of Tarantino stuff. So
It's funny
But
that
what
these
I thought,
days Kurt Russell is just collecting paychecks as fucking Santa Claus. The dude
Good
went
for
from like
you.
the dude went from Snake Plissken to Santa Claus. What the fuck? I don't even get it. I don't even
Look,
get
if
it.
you would do it. I'll just say it.
McCready to Santa Claus. Oh yeah, it's true. It's like the Sam Jackson mantra. If I was Sam Jackson, damn right I would sit there and hawk credit cards. I'd
Yeah,
I'd collect my
you
credit
sit there and
cards.
say whatever phrase they want you to say. Too many damn snakes on this, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Okay,
Too many motherfucking steaks on this motherfucking
yeah,
plate.
cha-ching. Like I don't know. It's an
Yeah,
aesthetic.
right. Payday.
Yeah,
Go
yeah.
go enjoy your new home in Bora Bora, Sam.
That's the only bummer. Death Proof does not have Sam Jackson in it. That's its one fatal flaw.
Sequel. That's no sequel.
Ooh, yeah. No, it's a fun movie, man. I just love it. And I don't know, I've watched it. Maybe it's just like it hits the certain things that I enjoy, but
I think
It's
it's
all your
kind of
horror feels.
creative in the sense that Kurt Russell gets to know all of his victims personally before he kills them.
he's super creepy, but he's like charming creepy, and that makes it
Right.
worse almost. Yeah. Like
And
the scene with
and
the
like you get,
second group of girls where they're all sitting around talking in the restaurant and
yeah,
he's sitting at the bar, and it's this cool like tracking shot that doesn't have any cuts, and they're just having, man, Tarantino, I don't know if he was the only writer, but like he's so good at dialogue. That's like one of the best dialogue scenes because it's all women, right? And often in movies, we don't get a lot of great dialogue anyways, and we're talking to each other. It's like whatever. This is one of the best, like most realistic, just a bunch of like girls sitting down and talking to each other scene that I've ever like listened to. And so I loved that. And then just the tracking where he doesn't even turn around. They don't do some cheesy like, music. It's just him sitting at the bar, but we know who he is. And then he starts to like slowly, track them down. But then the fact that they flip it back on him, I really love that. I love a good revenge situation. And I don't know, he finally met his match, and it was this great showdown between them all. Yeah. He's creepy though. He's a creepy dude.
mhm.
Because the way he kills people is fucked up. He just smashes them to death in his car. That's
Well, like
messed
the poor
up.
girl, like the first death, pretty much out of the movie, like when he just keeps drilling his brakes and
Yeah.
her face just keeps
She just
slamming into the.
smashes. Yeah. And I guess they said they cut out a scene after the first crash where he killed the whole group of people. They cut out a scene where it was like showing that it was like really like a sexual thing for him, and they're like, "Nah, we don't need to." The guy just like explains it.
But
So I
like in
don't
that, but you're right though, in that first like big scene where he kills, like how he cuts to all four different girls. So
Yeah.
you see how it's like you see the one girl's leg fly off, the
Mm-hmm.
other girl gets the tire going over her head.
Yeah.
But he
Yeah.
does it all in slow mo, and like how he cuts into it. It's pretty
Mhm.
cool.
Yeah, because you get that physicality with each one of them, and he
hmm
too is like injured. Like he's not, he doesn't escape unscathed, but he survives.
Right.
So it's just this weird, creepy, like, yeah, I don't know. he's that guy's messed up. But the way he stalks the other girls, like, because in the beginning you don't really see that. He just kind of, you see him. It's almost like you see it reverse. Like you see him commit all the murder, and then you see the long drawn out stalking scene, which is just, I don't know. The movie is so, it just flips everything on its head in a way that I love.
Yeah, I mean,
but
it's again really well done Tarantino, where he takes your expectations and flips them, or he takes the timeline and flips it. Like you said, Jessica, I personally, obviously it's made that way partly because it's a movie. You got to have some kind of action to grab the audience and get them in it. But I do love that we see the end result of his obsession with terrorizing women, and then we get his like method, like you see the death, you see the horror, you see all that stuff, and then you see like his whole method. But then it flips the script at the very end, and he meets his match, and he finds ladies that are actually able to take him out, which is.
I just love the moment where they're like, "Let's fucking kill him," and I was like, "Yeah, do that, please," because everyone else just runs away, goes to police. Like, no, we're gonna fucking drive, like we're gonna run him down, and then it's like their version where each punch. Each one gets to like a kick and a punch in. It's like, between each of them. It's like the perfect ending. Yeah.
It is some serious,
apparently, maybe you could look this up, Phil, to see if it's true or not. Though the scene where the one chick's driving the white Charger and her friend Zoe is on the hood and they're using belt buckles. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Apparently that was shot live, that there was no stunt, like she was the stunt devil.
She's a stunt
devil in real life.
Zoe Bell is the stunt devil.
She's a badass. She was the stunt double for Uma Thurman in Kill Bill.
Yeah.
Okay, so I wonder if that scene was actually really shot live like they said.
I bet. She's a badass. That's also probably why I like it, is because I like her a lot. She was the subject of a sort of documentary style movie about stunt women. It was just like a whole thing of her just kicking ass and all these different. She was like on Xena Warrior Princess, and she was the Kill Bill stunt double, and she just does all this crazy ass. She basically plays herself in the film.
Right. That's what.
Yeah. So I would bet that was a live stunt that she did. I just love it too, because you think
she's crazy live stunt. That is nuts.
Yeah, she like flips out and they're like, "Oh God, she's dead," and she's like, "I'm fine." Like pops up from the ditch.
Right.
I'm alive. No, I need to watch that movie again.
I think Jessica just had her. Yeah, I think you know which one you wish would have won now.
It's on Amazon Prime right now.
Awesome. I own it, but I'll still watch it on Prime.
Not surprised. Well, guys, any other films you wish would have gone further, or ones that just got fucking the shaft? That
those were my main ones, but I'll talk about whatever.
Yeah.
Do you have one that's lingering, Phil?
No, I mean, really, again, I was just so sad to see it. It was more like the films that are some favorites of mine that I knew were not going to make it past the second, third round. But like Babadook, God damn it, Babadook has got to. Babadook will win one of these days, or it's at least going to make it to the final four one of these days. And The Thing, that one just killed me. That The Thing got hosed on a midsummer draw for the first round. Yeah, that kills. It kills.
Would you put Midsummer up against like Bad Batch or something? Which one do you think would win?
Shit. I mean, I like Bad Batch too. I Midsummer was good. Let's put it that way. I enjoyed Midsummer, and it does creep me out. And it's one of those films that I've actually found myself thinking about afterwards. But I've also read Infinite Jest, that giant Bible-sized book from David Foster Wallace. Another book that on occasion I find myself thinking about, but will I ever reread it again? No. Fuck no. Not ever once. I did it once just to do it. Same thing with Midsummer. I did it because I felt compelled to do it. And I just don't feel like Midsummer has too much more. It's a very good film that says what it needs to say the first time. And I could be wrong, but I just don't feel like Midsummer has too much more that I could glean from it the more I watch it.
Yeah.
You know?
I've
It's
seen it once, so I don't know if it has a good rewatch value or not. But it does, I know it does have those little hints. So I would imagine maybe like a one time, to rewatch because you're like, oh, that's a reference to when the guy gets killed by whatever, and that's a
Yeah.
bear reference, and that's. But I don't know how fun that is. You're like, yep, I got that reference.
Right, that's what I'm saying. And that's like, and maybe that's just my personal way of watching movies. I don't personally watch movies to like, oh, cool, that reference that I missed before. I more like watching movies that have a certain feel and mood and vibe to them. And that's why, like, The Thing, I just love The Thing so much more than Midsummer, because The Thing also has these tiny little things that you can notice here and there over time. But I just personally like the mood better because let's put it this way. Maybe I don't like the characters in Midsummer as much. I dislike the people in Midsummer more than I dislike the people in Thing. And so I'm more willing to watch The Thing and get down on and hang out with like the people from The Thing than I am to hang out with the people from Midsummer.
Yeah, makes sense. Because most of those people sucked.
Yeah, they deserve what they fucking had coming to them. Whereas like McCready and all the boys at the base, no.
Yeah. No, they were fine. They didn't deserve to die.
Not especially not them or the dog. Oh no.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. The dog didn't have to die.
Uh-huh. No. Not at all. He especially didn't have to turn into a goddamn spider dog like he did.
And didn't have to kill all his other dog friends.
Yeah, I know.
That was
the worst thing you could imagine doing to a dog. Not only are you going to turn him into a spider thing, you're going to make him choke out all his other dog friends as you're a spider thing.
Yeah.
Wes Craven, you sick bastard. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Well, it's been good having this kind of intermission from Macabre Madness. We'll be getting back to it when we get Kaylin and Johnson in on this one because they got to defend their picks. So again, to run it through one last time, we've got our Elite Eight round coming up next. We got Train to Busan. That is Jessica's pick for winner.
Woo.
That's the champ's pick for winner. Pan's Labyrinth, which was one of Kaylin's picks. Dawn of the Dead 78, which was...
That was me.
I
think that was mine.
That was, yeah, Jessica, I think that was yours. I don't know. It just goes to show.
Jeez, you're going to be back-to-back champ.
No.
It could happen. You never know.
Kind of jinx you. That's why I said that.
That zombie.
Oh, God, it is your pick. Oh. I thought that I was
and passionate. Zombies.
Well, Dawn of the Dead up against Invasion of the Body Snatchers, which was my my cheating the system pick.
Did you find that anywhere, by the way? I tried to look for it streaming somewhere and could not find it.
That's going to be a tough one to track down for streaming. I think we're going to have to find that on...
Find it.
Go old school with it, DVD, man.
Old school, all right.
Old school DVD. Yeah, old school discs. Yeah. You remember the old days when we had to get a DVD out of the case and put it into the video player and
not to scratch it, blow on it.
Yeah, right. And if it was scratched, wow. All right, and then we got Marianne. That's Johnson's rando choice for a TV show up against Deep Red, which is my pick to win the whole fucking enchilada.
Yeah.
And then we've got we got a tough bracket down here. Hereditary up against It Follows.
Those are both mine, I believe, also.
Yes. So as usual, the champ's got she's running the fucking show over
got
here.
A few ponies in the race, so I had my bets.
Got like 3 or 4.
I know that worked out randomly. Yeah, 2 of them are at least going up against each other, so you can feel good about that. At least 2 will knock each other out.
Right, you will knock out one of your choices.
Yeah, then I'll have only 2 instead of 4.
Now I gotta say, I personally am really looking forward to our discussion that we will have about Train to Busan versus Pan's Labyrinth, because Johnson himself said that he does not consider Pan's Labyrinth a horror film, but he has also said that it is one of his top 3 favorite movies of all fucking time.
It is an excellent movie, however.
We'll see.
This isn't the fucking Oscars.
No, it's Macabre Madness!
Madness.
Madness, madness, madness.
Exactly.